Good morning, everybody, and good afternoon to everybody, depending on when you are connected from. And thank you again for the invitation and for giving me the opportunity to be here and listen to all the interesting presentations yesterday and today. I work at the University of Milan in the Security, Privacy and Data Protection Group. And lately, we have been working especially on data security and privacy in emerging scenarios. And in particular, we have considered in the last few years the fact that is under the eyes of everyone, and we have already been talking about that, listening to the presentations in these days, on the fact that the evolution of the ICT, of information and communication technologies, have changed considerably our lives and has caused a paradigm shift in our society, in the way we live, in our everyday activities, because we have more powerful, more efficient, more complex infrastructures over which we can rely for any kind of services, for data management, for data storage, and so on. And more often, we rely on external parties, on providers like big players, Google, Amazon, whatever, for managing our activities, for storing our data, and for processing them. We rely on these very complex and very powerful infrastructures. And the ICT has been an enabling factor for our current smart society. As Rigo was telling yesterday, basically most of the objects we are interacting with nowadays are becoming smart. We drive smart cars, we have smart watches or smart band tracking our fitness activities. We have smart TVs, of course a smartphone with which we are connected to basically everything. We rely on providers, as I was mentioning before, for many different activities, and all the data we need, all the services we want to rely on are at the distance of a click. Basically, if we have a laptop or a smartphone connected to the internet, we can access all our data and all the services we need without moving from the place where we are, without the need of anything but an internet connection. And this has considerably changed our way of living, our way of interacting with other people, our way of doing business, of course, and of doing research as well. And this has considerable advantages, not only from the practical point of view that every one of us experiences every day using the services of Microsoft or Google or Dropbox, but also from the point of view of security, which is the focus of our research. From the point of view of security, we have a better protection mechanism because we are relying on someone, a provider, a subject, a company, whose core business is the management of our data or the processing of our data or the activities we rely on the provider for doing that. We could be a final user or a small company with a completely different business activity, and we would not have the same experience, the same means for providing and using the best possible and the most recent guidelines for protecting our data, for realizing encryption techniques, for using firewalls in the proper way, and so on and so forth. So we feel more protected if we rely on someone who is doing that as its main goal. And providers also have a better way of guaranteeing protection in case of disaster recovery and guaranteeing business continuity if we rely on that parties for our daily life. They are able to prevent and respond better to situations that could happen every day. There is, however, a reverse side of the coin, especially if we move externally for data management or for managing our processes over the data. And the main reason is that systems are becoming more complex because we have tons of devices all interconnected, even the small, tiny sensors that we have basically spread all out of the environment with limited battery capacity, limited computational power, limited memory resources are connected to the system, and they do not only represent a resource for us for collecting information and sensing measures, but they also represent an entry point to our system that could be attacked by someone. So the weakest element in all the system could represent our security level. And if someone breaches into a single sensor, she could enter into the system and therefore look into our data and possibly also disclose them outside without being authorized for that, or even tamper our data, modify the data sensed by a sensor, and so maybe stop the production within a plant, or create issues in our house if we are controlling our heating system, or creating issues also with our car, stopping the brakes from working and things like that. So it could be a great problem if we do not protect properly all the system in all its elements. Another problem related with the fact that we strongly rely over these third parties for data management and processing is that in case of a violation or an exposure, there is a considerable damage, much more than in the past, because most of our activities rely on the presence of these parties and on their ability to store and manage our data. We could remain without anything if they are violated, or if they do not provide us with the availability of the resources we are using at their side. And all of this is due to the fact that basically we are losing control over our data and over our processes because they are in the hands of an external parties, which is not directly under our control, but which is distributed somewhere in the world. The question that rises at this point usually is our society or is our world becoming too smart? We as a final user as well feel a little bit controlled by this current world because our car is monitoring where we are moving and when. In our house, maybe we have Alexa or Google Dot who is listening to our private conversations. We have also a smartphone with us, which tracks our activities, our health status, and so on. So the question is, are we losing our privacy in this world? Are we losing control over the information about us? Of course, we need to keep an eye on security every time we assist to a technological change, and especially in the current world. Providing security is not an easy task. It's a complex problem, and it's a concept which is not easy to tackle because we need to consider it from different points of view. From the physical point of view of the protection of the infrastructures and the devices, to the higher level protection of the communication protocols, which permit the different devices to interact, to the protection from the outside world, from attacks, malware, ransomware, and so on. And of course, we need to protect our data. And I would like to focus a little bit on this aspect in particular. Why data? Data because data is one of the most important resources that we have nowadays. As we have listened from all your presentation, you are all based on data. We are based on data to make our decision. We collect huge amounts of information at any time. We have many sensors and we interact with the smart devices, and all these activities are generating tons and tons of raw data, which now can be stored and managed in an efficient manner, and that now we have the computational power to analyze for extracting knowledge, basically, thanks to machine learning, artificial intelligence, and many other modern tools that we have available today. And being able to analyze and to extract knowledge from raw data represents a considerable advantage for our society because we can take informed decisions, and the governance of our system is based on proper knowledge of what is going on. Often we read that data is the new oil because it has also an economic value, especially for companies, because it could provide a competitive advantage over the others. But we know that also in situations like the pandemic one that we are living today, the availability of proper information and their analysis can represent a considerable advantages for people working in the health environment. If data is so important, we need, of course, to protect them, especially if we rely on providers for their storage, management, and processing. Of course, if we rely on external cloud providers and we read the SLA agreement that we sign every time we stipulate a contract with them, we are assured that our data will be encrypted before being stored on the disks of the cloud provider. Encryption in storage is the minimum security property that providers guarantee to us, and they follow all the guidelines, all the best practices that we know. They encrypt the data using good encryption techniques. They use properly length and sized keys, encryption keys, and they rotate them periodically. So this is a good thing because anyone trying to breach into the cloud provider would not gain access to our data, which is the problem from the point of view of security. The problem is that the key, the encryption key, is decided and managed by the cloud provider. So if I don't trust 100% the cloud provider or the employees working there or the security infrastructures they implement, I am still exposed in some way with respect to the confidentiality of my information, because there is someone always who can see them. So on the other side, on the other extreme, I can decide to use client-side encryption. So I encrypt my data before moving them to the cloud. And of course, in this case, the cloud provider does not know the encryption key, and it's up to me, to the data owner, to decide with whom I want to share my data by simply communicating the encryption key to the authorized subject. The reverse side of the coin in this case is that I'm giving up with all the fancy functionalities that traditionally cloud providers offer to me. I cannot ask the cloud provider to give me all and only the files, including a specific keyword, because the data are encrypted and the cloud provider cannot dig into the content of the files to extract only the information of interest. So the challenge today, nowadays, is that of providing security on one side while maintaining the good functionalities that cloud provider could offer. And we have been involved in two projects, Escudo Cloud, which ended in 2018, and Mosaic Crown that Rigo mentioned yesterday, which aimed at providing novel solutions for bridging the gap between guaranteeing owners with the control over their data on one side, while enjoying all the flexibility and the economic advantages and the functionalities provided by external providers that could be simple cloud providers storing our data, but they could range to data lakes or data market scenarios, more complex data market scenarios. Of course, every time we talk about data confidentiality, the first things that comes to our mind is use encryption. Encryption is the base protection technique that everybody can use for protecting data confidentiality with proper key distribution. However, we know that encryption is not sufficient for guaranteeing always protection and proper protection, because it depends, of course, in the way we use encryption. There are different encryption techniques like symmetric encryption and deterministic encryption, which can be profitably used if we want to guarantee that the cloud provider can perform searches on our behalf, so evaluate the quality conditions, basically, if we are talking about queries. But while we have this functionality, on the other hand, we are exposing the frequency with which the original plaintext values appear in the data collection that we have released. In a similar vein, if we use order-preserving encryption, we are revealing to everybody the relative order of the values in the domain of our dataset. And all these pieces of information can be used by someone, by an external attacker or malicious user, to reconstruct with tracing back the original sensitive values that we wanted to protect. So it's not important only the technique that we are using for protecting data, but it is more important to define regulations and to establish the rules that need to be followed to protect our data. So access control techniques, usage control techniques are really important, especially in modern scenarios, because first we need to define who should be able to access which portion of the data, which action are permitted to her or him, and then we can decide which is the most adequate technique, encryption or other different techniques for enforcing those regulations. And as we have listened yesterday talking about machine learning by SBA colleagues, selective sharing is particularly important in this context because we have many different players collecting data. They might want to share partially this information to perform collaborative computations, collaborative data analytics without exposing all their data set, but just the amount of information which is needed for reaching a common goal. Of course, everything keeping an eye also on governmental regulations and laws like the GDPR, which are becoming more and more aware of the need of protecting privacy of people and sensitive information. Why protecting data is so difficult and why we should be aware of these risks when we release data. The real problem, the most important problem, the most important thing that we need to take into consideration when releasing data is that data is a particular kind of object because it cannot be considered as a standalone element, but it is interconnected to many different sources, all basically distributed wherever and even if we are not aware of that. So every time we want to release a piece of information, we need not only to look at the direct exposure caused by the explicit release of the information we are giving to the outside, but we need to also analyze the indirect exposure that we are causing because this piece of information is connected with other different information sources already available outside. So it's like a piece of a puzzle which is composed, which connects to other elements that we need to take into consideration. And the typical example of issues that are created when we are not really confident when releasing data is the problem that happens when we confuse de-identification with anonymization and we release de-identified data under the assumption that they are properly anonymized. De-identify means simply remove explicit identifiers. So if I have a data collection about patients in a hospital, I just remove the social security number and the name. But of course, this does not really protect the identity of people because thanks to other information, other demographical information typically, I can still reconstruct the identity of these patients. Anonymization is a much more complex problem and concept, which means that I operate over my data in such a way that nobody can reconstruct back the identity of people. And also big companies, and we have seen that in the news, sometimes confuse these two concepts, but it's really important to be aware of the risks that we run when we release or disclose data, especially in a public manner. So to conclude, I can say that the advancement of ICT technologies has provided considerable advantages and new opportunities for everybody, with advantages from the point of view of the economic advantages that we have, but also for collaborations and research advancements. We need, however, to take into consideration the privacy risks that we are undergoing, and of course, try to protect our sensitive information every time that we can. So if we protect properly privacy, we will be able to take more advantage and to enjoy even better all the benefits caused by the information technological evolution. Thank you for your attention.